I concede every point you just
Julio.
made. I concede every point you just made when it comes to DOS effect. I love it when that comes up because my response is always the same thing. DOS came in an era where creativity and doing something original was heralded above everything else. What they did had not been seen before they did it. So we gave it a shot because number one, Eric Sermon with beats don't miss. Solid King didn't miss. Those beats were crazy. And we listened to dudes doing something we had never heard before. That's why it only lasted one album. It only went one album. The next album, they started weeding off a lot of other albums. They didn't do that at all.
I don't know if I could just use that as an excuse to just say
it's not
why
an
we
excuse.
accepted it.
It's a reason. We heard something we've never heard before.
Yeah.
And let's not forget they were down with one of the #1 crews in hip hop. They were part of the Hit Squad.
Of course.
Like,
of course.
And let's not forget co-signing something was.
Let's also not forget Jay-Z used to rap just like them niggas.
How about that? They influenced the
yes and no. Yes and no.
Just for a time.
It was a style that was used.
Yeah, Bruce
and it came in waves.
Bruce niggas again. Bruce niggas, DOS effect.
Right. It came in waves. But as soon as it was over, we left it where it was. But the fact is, all we wanted back then was creativity and originality. And it had to be hard. So as long as it was creative and original, it got and hard. It got to pass long enough to do what it did. And then now,
listen, we asked to get away from record labels so that the people could decide, right? The people have decided, and this is what they chose. The shit we don't like now. This is what the people chose.
The internet is a democratizer.
Right, the internet chose this. We're mad
I don't agree with that.
No, the internet opens up the door.
I don't agree with that.
You go and back you up. You
The people chose Griselda too. The people chose Griselda.
This is how we get it back.
So I'm agreeing with you. What I'm saying is, we put things on the internet for consumption, right?
Yeah.
And the people pick and choose what they like. You put out 10 things, they might say, I like these 2. The 2 that they chose, we're mad at them for choosing that. That's essentially what's going on here. We're saying, don't like Lil Pump, don't like this person, don't like that person. The internet already chose them.
I'm not saying don't like them.
Meaning like, why do you like them when this is out? It's essentially what we say. You have this music over here, why are you gravitating towards that? That's not up for us to decide.
I already know, but I know why they're gravitating towards it. I don't even ask those questions anymore. And for me, it's not a matter of don't like this, like this.
So why are they gravitating?
Because consumers can be fooled by a fancy commercial. Consumers and connoisseurs are 2 totally separate things. For the same reason that when I was a kid, McDonald's was a treat. When I did good in school, my mother would say, hey, you passed that test, I'm going to take you to McDonald's. When I was 8, oh my God, I lived for everything in McDonald's.
Why do you think you loved it? Why do you think you loved it?
Wait for it. It's like Christmas in a box. They gave me Christmas in a box. But then, after that,
something with cheese
I started making my own money. I started getting out into the world. And somebody put me on the Red Lobster. I went to Red Lobster. Oh man, this is way better than McDonald's. Then next thing you know, I get in my 20s. Somebody put me on to Tavern on the Green. I won't be caught dead in Red Lobster anymore. My standards keep growing because you know better, you do better. Which one makes more money, McDonald's or Tavern on the Green?
Which one do you like?
McDonald's.
McDonald's, right? Which one sells more? McDonald's, right? Which one got a commercial? But which one do you need a fucking reservation to get into? Hold on. Not even to cut you off. There's a difference between consumers and connoisseurs. The difference between, and when we talk about eras, and the era that we're discussing, we have what we refer to now as gatekeepers. We had people whose whole job it was to keep the standard here. You can't, if you're whack, I'm going to tell you you're whack. You can't even be here no more. Like, I can't even let you in the studio because you're whack. We took the choice we took all of that away from the gatekeepers because we wanted everybody to have an equal playing field and we wanted a whole bunch of participation trophies and we wanted to let people live. Now the participation trophy generation is getting exactly what they want. Here, now y'all can do whatever you want for it. And we're seeing what happens when there are no standards. People are entertained by completing, and what entertains you knock yourself out, because I remember liking McDonald's. I'm not mad at what entertains you, bro.
Right.
Just understand that my standards don't allow me to like this. This is trash for me. I did this already. What you're doing, I consider baby babble. This is McDonald's.
No, but
I go to Tavern on the Green now, bro. I go to Peter Luger's Steakhouse. I go to
I don't believe
Full games now.
There's power in simplicity. You understand? Like sometimes, do I like Tavern on the Green and all that shit? Of course. But I love McDonald's. You understand?
No matter how much, no matter how much exposure, word.
No
matter how much exposure,
I went to China, I'm eating McDonald's.
Yeah.
I got the bread to buy this shit, but I love McDonald's.
If I offered you a business meeting and said we were doing it at McDonald's, would you take me seriously?
It's not a matter of that.
Would you though?
First of all, if I knew you and you were a serious nigga, it wouldn't bother me. You understand? But if it was our first time meeting, I'm like, this nigga's bugging. But why have the meeting there? I'm not saying, like you saying you want to grab something to eat, I'm not going to look at you crazy.
Because if I said we was having that same meeting at Peter Luger's and I got reservations to pull up.
Yeah, just because
something different.
The tone is different.
Right.
The tone is
so how do we even
I feel what you're saying. You mature into it.
You gotta do exactly what Nipsey said, in my opinion. You leave the goofies to the goofies. You gotta realize that people is gonna grow up, they're gonna grow out, and if they don't, they don't. I don't set my mark based on
Goofy shit.
what the goofy shit or what I consider the average, the crowd does. Like y'all can all McDonald's makes more money than any place I just named every day.
Right.
There's always gonna be an audience for that. My homegirl Jazz Fly, rest in peace, used to say there's always a club that'll let in a B-list celebrity. Always gonna be that club that lets in the B and C and D list. Always gonna be that. You don't argue with that. That was happening before hip hop came around. Every genre of music.
You know why people love McDonald's and shit like that? Because you know what you're gonna get. There's no trickery, there's no extra shit. I go to Tavern on the Green, they might make my shit a little different today than the way they made it yesterday. Not McDonald's, nigga.
It is.
They gonna give it to me the exact
master trickery in McDonald's.
But what I'm
Have
saying,
you ever seen the pictures of the food? Have you ever seen the food? Look like the picture.
if you know what you're gonna get, no matter what it is in life, when you know what you're gonna get, it's different. It's like if you're hungry, you're not gonna try new shit when you're starving, right? When you're starving, you're like, I ate this before, I'm gonna eat it now because I'm hungry.
Right.
You don't wait till you're hungry to be like, let me try some new shit. Never do that. You understand?
But I also make
you like it.
So look, so back to
I
music.
also make it a point not to be hungry.
No, so like, what I'm saying is back to
music.
music, right? So like music, if I go to the gym, I have certain songs that I need to get me right in the gym.
Yeah.
You understand?
Right.
And those are my go-to joints.
Right.
Are there better songs that more fit? Maybe, but these songs, I know what I'm getting with these.
Word.
So I'm gonna listen to these over and over and over again.
Right.
And people get mad at consumers for doing that. They're like, yo, why would you listen to this over and over again? We have this over here and it's so much better.
And I think
If it was that much
wrong.
better, it would have made its way to my playlist. But obviously it's not.
I think those people are wrong. I think the people who go, why would you listen to
Shut up
that?
the stick man though.
Sometimes
the
our
workout-
artists the same too. Sometimes the same people are listening to trash and listening to dope shit.
But what is
They have the
no,
trash and
we
one
can't
feeling.
call anything
Yeah,
trash
that's
when it
true.
comes to music.
Yeah,
I think
this is the
that's
conversation.
no,
let me say something why you
conversation.
can't. This is all creative space. There is no room to call it. You can just say I don't like it, but no music is trash. You cannot call any
That's
music
real
trash.
artistic. That's an artistic approach. You
No,
being a
no,
super
I
producer,
gotta
that
say-
would make sense.
If you can consider something great to you,
Yeah.
then you have the right.
No, to yourself.
consider
No, to
something else.
yourself. But what I'm saying is,
Right.
when you verbalize that and put it in the world like, yo, this is trash.
Yeah.
It's not your opinion anymore. It's almost becomes facts to people. So I don't say that about other people's music.
Yeah.
To me, it's like, that's just not my shit.
You're a super producer.
Somebody else likes that, but that's just not my shit.
Right.
Because when you call something trash, you're diminishing every
The
artist to
value.
me.
Yeah.
Okay, so look, let me ask you a question.
Wait.
So you don't think
aren't even artists, bro.
listen, I've ran into people that have said big name artists, yo, they're trash to me. How can you say that?
You ready for this? You ready? Here's the response I have, and I'm completely with you again. Me and you ain't even really disagreeing.
All right,
I have a blown out. I have a wider view.
Yeah.
Working at the source, being a music editor, seeing it come, seeing it go.
Exactly.
If heat makers would sit there and say this is trash, and somebody else comes along and says I disagree, I need to consider the source.
Right.
Right. You gotta consider. You always have to consider the source of the information that's coming to you.
Absolutely.
Who said it? What's behind them? I have with even with the name of this show, I have what I refer to as a qualified opinion.
Right.
My opinion is qualified. My opinion is backed up by over 10,000 hours of training. Exactly what I'm doing now on a professional level. So I'm a rookie. I don't listen to music strictly for entertainment purposes. I listen beyond it. So do you.
Right.
So is he. So is he. So is he.
Right.
We have expert opinions. I don't debate
Don't name
casuals. I don't debate with casual fans.
I like the verb.
You are a casual fan, bro. You can't talk to me about music same way he can. You can't have a debate with me about beats the same way he can. And while I respect that your opinion is your opinion, you have to respect what's behind your opinion versus what's behind mine.
Of course.
I'm not talking to you from a casual standpoint, bro, and I'm not even saying I'm better than you. But this is the work that I put in. How many flights do you take in the course of the year? Round number, ballpark.
Enough to get like 4 free.
Done. if you know a good chunk about flying, right? We can all agree on that.
Right.
That many flights a year, you got to know something about flying.
Right.
If a pilot rolled up on you and started talking about flying, would you open your mouth to talk back to that man, or would you sit there and
He's a
listen?
pilot.
Exactly my fucking point. Because there's a qualified. I've been eating since before I was born. I would never pop shit to a chef.
Yeah.
There's a such thing as a qualified fucking opinion. I don't argue with casuals. Anytime I have a conversation with a casual, that's a fucking education.
You know how
That's a consultation.
I'm gonna tell you,
I'm not debating you. Your right and wrong is different from my right. And if I say something is trash, it's because my opinion and what entertains me and my standards are here.
Right.
And they don't dumb down because you find something entertaining and I don't know anything about your background. How much music have you listened to?
I'm gonna put
What
it
do
like
you
this.
know?
This how I look at it, right? I agree with you as far as like I don't want to have debate with casuals over music and shit like that, right? No, I get that.
It's a mechanism, bro. You're welcome.
But I understand that even in a fool's conversation, there's a gem hidden in there, right?
True fact.
So if I dismiss casual conversations, you know how much gems I lose? You understand what I'm saying to you?
Right.
Like, I don't dismiss anybody. Like, I take certain niggas more serious than others, but I don't dismiss anybody. Because that one dude I dismissed could have probably told me a gem that made me look at music differently.
Well, I could say this. As far as his position, he has to think that.
Yeah.
Not
He's
necessarily.
an editor. No, he's an editor. Like, you have to decide. You have to be the deciding factor between whether this makes sense or this doesn't make sense.
So look,
You know what I mean?
look what we're doing here though, right? That same kid that he's judging.
I didn't judge.
No,
No,
what I'm saying is, I want to say judging. Okay, you're
Right.
critiquing.
Right.
Sure.
The same kid you're critiquing, right? When he wrote certain shit in his room because he was feeling a certain way, you might not love it, you might not like it, but his message is going to translate to other kids that feel like him.
Sure.
So when you throw him away and say, you know what, this is trash, what happens then?
Okay.
But there's no subject to say that's going on. Where we were at was as far as like mumble rappers in the era of not performing your lyrics.
Right.
But think about
Right.
this.
Yeah, so you got caught up on the trash.
Something,
shit.
and I know and this is a fun fact because he talks about sources, right?
Right.
Edward Bernays and Sigmund Freud, people are familiar with psychosomatics and what it comes down to, like he was talking about energy, etc., exchange, whatever.
Right.
They said something that was super important. Edward Bernays, nephew or whatever relative of Sigmund Freud, then turned into what you do, it's called media propaganda. Not saying what you do propaganda, but you understand PR, etc., blah, 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 blah.
Right.
Something he said was important about selling and not selling the music or anything in the world. He said, if you want to sell something to the masses, you don't appeal to their intelligence. You appeal to their desires and their fears.
Their vices and
Right.
instincts.
So therefore, what he's saying operates from a place of music appealing to people's desires and fears.
Right.
You're speaking from a place of it appealing to one's intelligence for that particular audience or that particular, let's say, small ecosystem within the culture of hip hop. Right? Let's call it an infrastructure looking like an enterprise company. It's not. It's speaking Y'all speaking in the same tongue, but you're speaking in one speaking executive, like the soup, and one is speaking as a creator. That same divisive, school of thought is actually they balance is yin and yang, so it's needed.
That's one of the beauties of hip hop. That's one of the beauties. There's different
now you just walked into a very interesting area, because now I have to wonder if you're not appealing to intelligence anymore. What are you advocating?
The lowest common denominator.
The low vibration.
The lowest common
The
denominator.
low vibration.
Desire is affairs.
And the low vibration encourages what? Indulgence. And what we have now is an era full of drug addicts.
Here's what we gotta keep in context too, man. We're also seeing the world right in front of our face for the first time. Like when we was coming up, social media didn't exist.
Right.
So you didn't know what was happening in Cali if you was in New York in real time.
Right.
Now we seeing everything all over the world in real time, so you're seeing more drug addicts, more alcohol. You know what I'm saying? So people are making music about that.
Right.
It's not that everybody's a drug addict and everybody's a user. It's just this is what they're seeing on everyday life through social media. So they're rapping about it.
No, I get that, but I will say that if you look at the statistics
of course, but
of people overdosing, that's skyrocketed, bro. That's sky high. Sky high.
They are taking it. We did come from an era where the dealer and the junkie were two separate people.
yeah, of course.
And we only respected the dealer. We didn't respect the junkie.
Right.
And neither one was one to praise, to keep it real with you.
Right.
Well,
They don't tell you the end story of the dealer half the time.
We did. What we saw with the dealer was somebody who made a way out of no way and was willing to take the risk and the chance. What we saw in the junkie was somebody who succumbed to the thing that the dealer overcame.
Right.
And he crumbled under his own shit.
One of them took ingenuity and intelligence, and the other one just took weakness.
No, I disagree with that. That's wrong. You can't encapsulate that in that particular, under those two terms, right? Because if you're looking at human weakness, once again, you have what you call objective truth, philosophical truth, right? And political truth, right? Those are three ways to approach a form of a truth, right?
Right.
And then,
How much strength does it take to be a junkie?
I'm not qualified to talk about, say that.
Good answer.
We all are qualified. But we don't just say,
I'm gonna keep it real with you. I'm not even saying that.
I loved it.
Man, I think when it come to shit like that, not saying it takes strength to be a junkie, but we don't know where they came from. I know a lot of niggas with crazy backstories that end up being that.
Yeah.
Right.
That had perfectly good lives before that.
And I know people
You
with crazy
understand?
backstories that are not that.
No, of course. But what I'm saying is, it took something for them to even get to that point.
Which we don't disrespect because we don't know. I'm on your side. I'm on your side. My thing is, ever since I got into this business, I developed this philosophy. When the results don't change, the why is irrelevant. Repeat that. When the results don't change, the why is irrelevant. I find a lot of people spend a lot of time searching for the why in situations. Why did the most basic one I can give you is, why did you shoot me? Right? You got shot. If the bullet is still in you and you're bleeding, do you really care why it's there over getting it out and getting better?
I mean, at the end of the day, that does matter.
Yeah.
Not to the doctor whose job it is to save your life. There's no example of why you got shot that's gonna stop them.
I'm talking about for you, for the person. God
forbid,
Right.
knock on wood, I ever get shot on something. Fix me first. And then let's figure it out. Then we can do whatever. But not if the results don't change.
Like, if you got a bullet in your head, knowing why this person got a bullet in the head doesn't change whether you.
He bent over, so now I gotta go.
No, That's how.
No, that's the how.
That's the how. That's not the
I'm
why.
talking about the why.
The why.
And when I say all that to say, we start talking about the difference, and I wasn't trying to qualify junkies versus dealers.
I was
I'm saying how we see it, how we looked at it in music, why we praise one and diss the other one. And to your point, yes, people have wild reasons why they got started on something.
Right.
Between it was Saturday night, I just wanted to try it. My boys or whatever.
I was dating a white girl.
That happened. Or all the way to, yo, my life is a nightmare, and I need to escape any way possible.
Mm-hmm.
All of that, that and the gray area in between, all lead to junkie. None of us stop to look at the when the results don't change, the why is irrelevant. The why became irrelevant once you saw a junkie smoking crack.
But no,
I gotta think more about that before I agree with that.
I can't agree with that because that's such a linear approach. You can't. There's no part-time solution for a lifetime disease like addiction,
Facts.
right?
Mm.
So because there is no part-time solution for something that has been ingrained and celebrated, has been there's a manufactured consent with some of the shit we do and it's celebrated.
Right.
You actually said it as a professional editor and a writer, right? Within your particular realm, you've been doing that for years, and you said it. That statement is not true from the start because until every voice has said we agree that we would always be what? Subjective.
Right.
What? Mathematically speaking.
Right.
And truthfully speaking, it's not an accurate statement. You're speaking from a subjective lens, which creates these great conversations. It's not a juxtaposed, we could call it that. But I'm just saying, for me and my people here, right? We're just saying, if I agree, but what I'm saying to you is, it's not an absolute truth.
So
I'm
why
not-
someone becomes a junkie?
Yes, it's not.
I'm not.
No, he said the why doesn't matter. He said the why doesn't matter.
I said the why doesn't matter because
In terms of sometimes maybe.
no, in terms of what you
But
can't.
sometimes the why has to matter.
So repeat that.
Sometimes the why would matter. Sometimes the why wouldn't matter.
It was so elegantly packaged.
Now let him say that.
What I'm
Say
saying-
it again one more time. What you said there.
My philosophy when it comes to this is when the results don't change, the why is irrelevant. I never ask about why. And since we're talking about junkies and
I like this.
when my whole thing was we gotta get this fixed.
You did say that.
We gotta get this fixed. I stopped looking at the why.
Regardless.
I don't care how you became a junkie. Stop. We gotta get you right.
You gotta
Right.
remediate the problem.
Now, if getting underneath some of that stuff is
It's
what
necessary.
gets you out of absolutely necessary,
Right.
but that's not why you became a junkie. If I found out that you became a junkie because you were dating a white girl versus you became a junkie because your life was a nightmare, you're still a junkie. My goal is still to get you to not be a
So
junkie.
you don't believe
Right.
in seeing like psychologists and things of that nature?
No, I absolutely do. I believe
That kind of goes against your.
it doesn't. It doesn't because
Because look, if my if my woman cheats on me, right? I shouldn't ask
we
why.
discussed this.
So I shouldn't go to counseling. Shouldn't ask why. I should just
you
eat
want
that.
to fix it?
But this is what I'm saying. She said the why
That's,
would be relevant.
that if she cheats on you,
The why would be relevant to go to
not
counseling.
if you don't give a fuck that she cheated.
No, what I'm saying is to go to counseling, which you agree with, the why would be relevant.
That's it. You care why she cheated.
The bottom
Yeah,
line
but
of
you
this
can't. What I'm saying is you can't believe in both.
But no, I'm not believing in both. I said when the results don't change. That's the part you're skipping over.
No,
the result is
I did skip over.
if
The
the
result is
result
she
is
cheated.
if the result that's what she
you're
did.
saying
If the result is that you're going to leave her, it doesn't matter why she cheated. Don't matter. Who cares? But if you want to save it,
Then the why is.
then the why becomes relevant because the
Okay,
results.
so here we are. Here we
So
are.
there's
in a
certain
room.
instances where
trying
why
to figure
becomes
out-
relevant.
It's the result.
Yeah.
If the result is
I
going
get
to
it.
change, the why is now relevant. If the result
that's
don't
instant.
change,
Okay.
the why is irrelevant.
Okay,
If
So
here's
that's
the
an
question.
instant.
Here's the
That's an
question.
instant.
Is hip hop or
Yeah, back to
music, rap music,
hip-hop. Back to hip hop.
part of the why that New York's murder rate is sky high right now?
No.
No, it's the result.
It's the result.
The culture. What's happening in the streets? What's happening in the streets is before what's happening in. The music is a reflection of the streets.
Right.
The music is a reflection of the
How
streets.
can we pass that? How can we pass that?
That's true too.
I refuse to blame rap music for people dying.
No,
I can't do that.
Because then you have to blame.
You know what? And I wouldn't blame rap music, but I would blame a lack of a better positive, a more positive influence.
Okay, let's say this.
You understand? If you listen to something, they've done this study with like plants. Like they took 2 plants. They put one plant in the room, and they had someone go in there and pet it and talk to it and say nice things to it every day. And the other one, they ran in, they played rock music, they screamed and yelled and said negative things to it, and they gave them both the same amount of water. And after 30 days, the one that got all the negative energy was dying.
Right.
Let's talk about that. That's that you said that. Now,
So if you keep listening to this rehearsed message of kill, life doesn't matter, I'm depressed, take drugs, shoot the ops, like you listening to this all the time, and it's coupled with no positive influences in front of you, what happens? What do you become?
You know, I don't think
But that also got to be reinforced by lifestyle. What's happening in your real life? It's the whole program. There's a lot of deep social economics, if you want to get into that go into all of that stuff. So there's a lifestyle. There's a lifestyle.
But right now, let's get into the fact that this does have an effect
So when you watch a big movie,
Uh-huh.
when you watch like a big movie that's
Terminator,
a gangster
shit
movie,
like that.
Terminator killing everybody, does that turn you into a gangster?
Let's be real.
That's what-
When you was young, and you was watching them kung fu flicks on Channel 5,
You thought you tried to do it.
you telling me you was in the crib, you trying to do that, jump kicking, you
You gonna try
You had about 4 good shows you could probably catch at that time. It was either probably kung fu, some shit, different strokes, some shit like that. Whatever the fuck it was, right? Nowadays you have fucking thousands of things you can watch. Whatever you choose is your prerogative. If you choose to watch some shoot 'em up, kill 'em shit 10, 15 times a day, that's what you chose. Like, when are we gonna start taking accountability for the shit that we chose?
No, I get it.
Okay,
it's a balance of the two, maybe.
But on the same level, because this is the correlation I'm trying to make.
Yeah.
Hip hop is going back into positive zone.
Yeah.
Right.
We saw the emergence of Kendrick Lamar, J. Cole, Drake even, was to a certain extent was not perpetuating certain lifestyle. So a lot of people in the neighborhood that was like, I'm not selling drugs no more. This ain't it no more.
Right.
Then we had a resurgence. A rapper named Chief Keef.
Right.
Got a lot of money.
Mm-hmm.
And he put out a record, and then his lifestyle was put out on the internet.
Right.
And everything that was going on in Chicago.
Right.
And if you look at the death toll in Chicago at that time, and you look at the emergence of the music, there's a connection to that shit going up.
I agree
The
with
more
that.
popular drill music got, you know what I mean?
I agree with that.
But in agreement with that,
Now, hold on, but let me finish the point. Bringing it to New York now.
Right.
We got New York drill.
Right.
And now New York is the murder capital again.
Is it?
It's up above every other state right now. It's up
Since the pandemic?
since the pandemic.
is this a quarterly data or is this yearly data? Because we
I
have
say it's quarterly right now.
okay, so
It's
we want to
quarterly
get,
right
you
now.
know, and then you have real time data, and some of that data, the inaccuracies in it will put you in a position to say X, Y, and Z, right?
Right.
But if you look at it and you're looking at, okay, cool. Back to what he said, there's corporate media, right? And then you have alternative media, and there's several sets of facts that run through these particular entities, right? So because of that, like you said, if corporate media, or let's say a certain aristocracy within hip hop, right, that controls, we're the only people that go to other people to tell us how to do our culture. That's half of the problem. You don't see any other ethnic group coming to us to ask us, hey man, you guys should put on more jewelry, you should wear more coats, you should put more beer in the video, get some crystal pointed. They don't ask us for permission to do what they do, and they don't perpetuate anything we tell them to perpetuate in their culture.
Right.
That's probably more than 50% of the problem. Rough or roundabout number, not, whatever. But I'm just telling you, we don't control media in our culture enough to change the message at the push of a button, or say, no, we not mess with X, Y, Z, would you agree or disagree? We don't own enough. We don't own enough of it.
I disagree.
Talk about it.
I disagree. Collectively in this room, if I was to add up everybody's followers, good amount of people.
Okay.
Now, if you continue to do that amongst hip hop, amongst the legends, if you add everybody up, there is no corporation that can have a louder voice than all of those people connected.
I'm gonna tell you why I would chop that and debunk that in less than 3 seconds. Because none of us own the media platforms that we're gonna put the message on. Do you own Twitter? Do you own Instagram? If I fucking hit the button, no nigga in here can go tomorrow and build up his own platform from scratch as an engineer and build that shit up and say, I'm gonna have 1 million followers. You can't do that. So what I'm telling you, we don't.
You're saying it's being perpetuated.
And it's not being perpetuated. We don't own it like we think we do. That's
right.
the illusion.
But why would the message not be delivered?
Because people are scared to fuck up their bag.
Mm.
Niggas ain't gonna get out here. Niggas ain't gonna get out here and say the truth and the facts. You know why? I ain't gonna be a woke nigga. Right? Why? Because they scared. And if being woke was cool, and it was the new gangster shit, it'd be 100,000 niggas in the middle.
It was the new cool shit for like 2 weeks. Everybody was woke for like 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Everybody.
The MCs could influence that too. Yo, the MCs could influence that.
And it's not an attack on your lens. It's just to give you the perspective of my lens on it. Because this conversation is about sharing lenses, right? Which is ill to me.
Like look, like what you said, there has to be more organization, right? Like we have more black billionaires and millionaires now than ever. The only way we make a change is by pooling our finances. Not our media outlet, our finances. Black-owned banks, black-owned communities. When I say that, I don't even mean like, and I'm not trying to be on no separation of races shit. I just mean in the sense of, you want to take...
No, we got to circle the wagons. We got to circle the wagons.
You want to be taken seriously?
Right.
Yeah.
America is not about black and white. People think it is.
Right.
It's about bread. If I have just as much money as this Jewish dude, he's gonna treat me the same. He's not gonna treat me like the black dude from the hood. He's gonna treat me like, yo, I need him. Call me every day, how you feel? No, but it don't matter. It's business. He's not my friend. This is business. He can say whatever he want to say behind my back, but we're doing business. You understand?
Right.
So everybody thinks that it's about white or black, and it's not about that. It's about bread. When you have less, they treat you like you have less. You understand? So if you got $1 million to $1 billion, it's like, this nigga got crumbs. Fuck this nigga. You understand? When the owner of the Clippers looked at his players, he's like, I pay these niggas. Fuck these niggas. Why are you chilling with these niggas? They're niggas because I pay these niggas. You understand? Meanwhile, you think that same dude couldn't say that to Michael Jordan, who owns his own shit? Jordan is not a nigga to him.
Right.
You understand?
Yeah, but he said it about
No,
Magic Johnson,
he said it about
who has